Director of Education with Elite Financing Group, and today I wanted to go through the loan process for clients. One thing that I do recommend is watching the video what not to do during the loan process, just to ensure that everything goes smoothly. Okay, let's get started. So something that previously was not the case is agents are now asking for a pre-qualification letter before you go look for homes to ensure that you are a qualified buyer. So that is actually the first thing that you'll typically do before going to look for homes. So the way to get that pre-qualification letter is that you will go on Jorge's website and you will fill out an application. Once Jorge receives that application, he will then pull your credit and he will ask for additional documentation. Some of that documentation will include a copy of your state ID, a copy of your 2 most recent pay stubs if you're a W-2 employee, a copy of your 2 most recent bank statements, which include your savings, checking, and retirement, and please include all pages, a copy of your 2 most recent W-2s, a copy of your 2 most recent tax returns, and so that would include your personal tax returns, and then if you own your own business, your business tax returns. HR contact information for your job so that he can verify employment. The agent contact information for the homeowner's insurance that you will be choosing to use. If you're not sure who to use, then Jorge can certainly help you out with that. And then depending on your particular situation, other documentation could be requested. For instance, if you are divorced, then your divorce decree. If you receive child support, then that documentation will be requested. And if you currently have a mortgage, your most recent mortgage statement. If you have filed for bankruptcy or had a foreclosure, then that documentation will be requested. If you receive retirement income, Social Security, or disability income, then those award letters will be requested. And if you're going to do a VA loan, then a copy of your DD-214 will also be needed. And last, but possibly some more as well, is if your down payment is coming from your 401k or a gift from a family, then you will need to let Jorge know and additional documentation will be needed. Once Jorge receives that documentation, he will then put it in the system, and if you qualify, he will send your agent a pre-qualification letter allowing you to continue to look for homes. Now, once you find the home that you love, you put down an offer, it gets accepted, the agent will then send a copy of the executed contract to Jorge. Jorge will then provide preliminary disclosures, which include your interest rate, and you will need to let Jorge know if you'd like to lock your rate as is, or if you'd like to float the rate, meaning you'd like to play with the market a little bit and see if your rate increases or decreases, hopefully decreases. So definitely let him know that. Other things will be conditions, rules, various disclosures, estimated down payment, estimated closing costs, your loan term, so anywhere between 10 and 30 years, whatever that is, will be on there. So as you look over that, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Jorge and he will certainly help you. And the sooner he gets you to sign those preliminary disclosures electronically, the sooner he can move forward in the process. So once you sign those preliminary disclosures electronically, the file can then be submitted to our in-house processing team, and they will prepare your file, and that typically takes 1 business day to be submitted to underwriting. Underwriting will then take a look at your file, and that typically takes 2 to 3 business days, and that depends on their company volume. And as a side note, just so you know, Jorge typically waits to order the appraisal until your option period ends, unless you or the agent notifies him. Let's see, and that appraisal does take 5 to 7 business days to complete. Now, once underwriting receives your documents, after 2 or 3 days, they will provide an initial approval and also require additional items. Some of those things being a copy of your canceled earnest money and option money checks, your final homeowner's insurance quote, and explanation of addresses on your credit report inquiries, as well as random deposits, and then other documentation depending on your particular situation. Jorge will be the one that will be contacting you, getting that documentation, and once again, the sooner you get it back to him, the sooner he can give that information back to underwriting so that y'all can meet your closing date. Once all items are collected, the file will go back to underwriting for final approval, and that typically takes them 1 to 2 business days. The closing department at EFG will request and send a preliminary closing disclosure to you electronically to be signed, and this has to be signed at least 3 days prior to closing. Otherwise, they'll have to move the closing date back. Now, once that is signed, EFG's closing department will get together with the title company to finalize your closing disclosure 1 to 2 days before your closing date. So you will receive that final disclosure before you go to close. And at this point, you can wire your final closing funds to the title company directly to them, or you can get a cashier's check made out to the title company and you can bring that the day of closing. So the day of closing, that will be scheduled by your real estate agent and the title company. And some things that you'll need to be prepared to bring are your state ID, and then of course the cashier's check with your closing funds if that's how you decided to pay for them. At closing, you will sign documents and a survey for EFG if one provided, so that we can ensure that we're giving you the best service possible. And then the title company will provide a copy of these signed documents to EFG's closing department for funding authorization, and that typically takes EFG about 1 to 2 hours. And once that is then received by the title company, you will be given your keys and you'll be the owner of a new home. So please let us know if you have any questions. You can contact Jorge, and certainly keep us in mind as you yourself might need a mortgage or someone you know. Thank you.